Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Captain America Sentinel of Liberty issue 8. And this is a crazy looking cover, but it also fits with kind of what goes on of what happened to our kind of Cap and his friends, and what help they received from Emma Frost, and what kind of little we learn about this kind of MODOK. So, we pretty much see Cap in Kansas, and it's funny, is like, the dude's like, hey, I need some ID, because he's like asking to use the phone. He's like, listen, I don't have my wallet on me, and I hate to pull this card, but don't I kind of look familiar? He's like, oh shit. And it's like, yeah, that about sums it up. And then we kind of get an understanding of what's kind of going on in New York, as we see that it's pretty much been cordoned off by AIM. Let's see. Strange power reading beneath the city. Thousands taken hostage. No demands as of yet. Mayor Cage issues emergency declaration. Avengers on hold. It's like, we'll have to see kind of what's going on there. Let's see. The dude's asking Cap if this is about like the whole New York thing. It's like, yeah. Seems like you should be there. It's like, yeah. Wondering if he'd be calling the Avengers. Steve pretty much being like they'd be ordered to stand down. He's like, the Secret Avengers? And he's like, that's not halfway bad idea, sir. Just let me, hey kid. And it's like, he's calling somebody, he's like, tells him where he's at, and that he needs to activate the Captain's Network. So it's like, oh cool, glad to have that kind of tied back in. We then switch over to AIM-occupied Lower Manhattan, as we see pretty much his art friends trying to get to Steve to see if he's okay. Trying to like bust down the door and everything, and they're wondering if he's bleeding to death or anything, and Amari's like, no, he's not in there. We box and everything, wondering where his parents are. His mom was in Queens when the force field went up, so he's pretty sure that she's worried. Then we see that some AIM people are like coming after, well, pretty much Steve, where we get some of the cringiest dialogue for the fucking AIM guys possible, but it kind of works because they're the shitty bad guys here. And so like, this is wild, they're going to tell stories around HQ for years. We're going to be the duo who got Captain America. Get lit, Rogers. I'm like, oh, you potato-ass motherfuckers. Just like, oh my god, just, okay. And they're just like celebrating, yeah, she said the thing, as they pretty much burn Steve's apartment. I'm like, okay, you're, alright. And that, they've been working on that one for weeks. Thanks, pretty cool, right? And they pretty much ask Amari what his kind of like plan is, as they pretty much got out of Steve's apartment and are going down the whole kind of stairs and everything. He's pretty much thinking that the gym, it's old, it's got a basement like a bomb shelter, might deaden signals and everything, as one dude's pretty much telling him to freeze. Amari kind of knocks his ass out with a pretty good punch, which I'm like, alright kid. And he's just saying that, like, I just want everybody to know that I do not consider violence a first option. And then it's like, a fascist is a fascist even with a degree. Cosigned. It's like, yeah, I'm glad that he's learned that violence is not the first option, but these motherfuckers are pretty much trying to take over the city. They got a force field and everything, and they attempted to murder the dude who was pretty much trying to help you out and everything. So I'm like, yeah, you just knocked him out. It works with that. And then he's like, sorry, civilians, but we don't just have degrees. We have PhDs and lightning guns. Get the fugitives, you doctors of terror. I like it because of how bad it is. And I don't mean that, like, the script is completely horrible. This is bad guys who are, like, even though they're smart and they make this, like, amazing technology, like a lightning gun, they're idiots and assholes. It's like, yes, we are doctors of terror and shit. It's like, you really huffing your own farts over there, my friend. Holy shit. Talking about how the city belongs to AIM. Our way is clear. Our way is cleared. Our bribes are cashed. Our brains are humming. And no one is coming to save you now. As we see them rounding up some more people, it's like, all right, then what's your fucking deal, dude? And then someone's like, then we see that, like, Aaron was the person that he called that's able to get everybody pretty much together, which was a very effective use of Aaron. You're like, alright, thanks for trusting me with such valuable cargo, Steve. It's like, even if some of it wasn't as appreciative as it should have been, I just think we could have ridden inside. Let's see here. As they're talking about, like, pretty much getting there. So they're being watched every kind of way. So it's kind of good that they used the captain of the railways to do it. Good to know. Aaron, yeah, Mr. Fury. I do like seeing Aaron kind of like interacting with Steve's kind of network. And then they tried Natasha again, but she's dark, and Clint's on high alert in New York City. Can't leave. Let's see. And then Steve giving kind of like a little rundown of the captain's network. Aaron and his friends all over the country doing the good work and everything like that. And then Aaron asking how his spy squad got scattered to the 5 winds. Fury's like, I don't have any idea. Anybody else pretty much missing the same 5 days? As we then see the redacted dude popping up and giving kind of more technically accurate one. He's like, shit, even the big fella. Steve's talking about like his own experience, how it was like a sharp line. He was like awake, and then in Kansas. And then Sharon talking about how she has a subdermal scar tissue behind her right ear. We also have Peggy and the Destroyer there as well. And everybody else does as well. It's like, okay, so they did something to our bodies inside our heads. Figuring out what to do about that. And then trying to figure out like any kind of like psychics. One dude's like, most of the ones that I know are dead. And Steve's like, I know one. Yeah, it was at a party and everything. Steve, it's fine. You don't have to be a monk while I'm not around. Reminds me, actually, I have this suit. It's funny. They're in this like weird kind of like situation, and Steve's bringing up the Hellfire Gala suit, which is kind of funny but kind of weird as well. It's like, yeah, you should see that. Don't change the subject, babe. Call her. But we see that he's kind of stalling a little bit on this because it's not something that he really kind of wants to do. He can call her with like a word and what's supposed to be that, but Steve does it anyway, even though it's uncomfortable where he has to say mommy. And it's like, yeah, Emma Frost would do that when she pops up being like, listen, I should have put more stipulations on the favor that you could call in because I don't want to be at a hobo convention. And I think you're embarrassing me in front of Lords here, the teleporter. And she's like, she could leave me here and it'd be all your fault. And everyone's like, shit. Peggy does not like her whatsoever. It's like, I'm not having this genetic supremacist anywhere near my brain. Now, granted, I do know that Emma Frost I'm not that well versed with her lore and her kind of interactions with Steve and the kind of rest of the cast of characters, but I do note that she has some weird and varied history, and she's like saying, no, I'm a genetic absolutist. Supremacy will come out in the evolutionary wash. And I'm like, throughout this comic, it's like, I'm glad that she helps them, but she is a real asshole about it. I'm like, alright, no wonder people are kind of like weird around you. And it's funny, Steve's like, she's kidding, and was like, am I? And her friend's like, no, she's not. So Steve pretty much gives a rundown. Somebody's been in their heads, they want to know who. She's talking about how there should be echoes and everything. With all your minds together, we should be able to know. Peggy's like, I'm out. And she says 5 should be enough, so they kind of sink into their minds as she kind of goes in there, and we see MODOK. Now this one is the mental organism designed only for control. He says that could be confusing as he's laughing and just showing himself kind of fucking around with them. Saying that they shouldn't mind him coming in and everything. You love your friend. You love it when he comes to stay, as he then messes with them and pretty much inflicts pain and everything on them. And that is just a crazy... I do like the artwork. I mean, granted, the artwork in the book's usually been like one of the top spots for me. But this is just a crazy-ass looking 2 pages here with MODOK and the rest of Steve's team kind of in their whole kind of mental space and figuring out what's going on as they kind of splash out, and Emma gets them out of it. That thing put us on pause, minus for our secrets, and the rat bastard made it hurt, as Fury says. It's like, yeah, like there's not just getting the information and everything. If you make it hurt for the people as well, that's fucking nuts and shows fucked up character. Then they're trying to figure out kind of what's going on with this MODOK, if it's like a sleeper kind of personality or whatnot. The Redacted says it's the last star point, a psychic deterrent, capture and contain, and it just shut him down, rooted around, did everything. Of course, Sharon then punches a wall, and Emma's like, punching, it always comes down to punching. Yeah, it really does. She says, good luck with that. Nightmare Creation seemed like it would respond to a robust thrashing. In the meantime, Steven, do be a stranger. Mutants had enough MODOK problems of our own, and don't even get me started on America. It's like, okay, cool. I mean, but Steve will still probably help you if you got any problems. It's just like, okay, that's one way to be about it. And then we see someone saying they needed a drink, and Steve's like, yeah, I'm good. And Sharon's like, no, this bottle's for me. And she's trying to say, I gotta believe you're as angry as I am, Steve. And Steve's like, I'm furious, Sharon. You never know it. What are you looking for up there? And I'm like, I get that with Steve. Like, he has to balance. It's always tricky figuring out how to show your emotions and like when to be like, okay, listen, I am mad, but I'm focusing on trying to figure out what to do. It's like you feel the emotion and then you're trying to figure out the course of action to rectify what happened and try and help people as well. And he's like looking up and he's like hoping to see Bucky, but he's not coming back. He's playing their game, doing what he can. He's still my friend even if he doesn't know it. And it's like that's the good thing with Steve is they just sit there and comfort each other with things. It's like, yes, he knows, Steve. Honestly, everyone does. And we need to stop reacting. It's like, yeah, here we go. This is where he starts figuring out what he needs to do. And Steve's like, listen, all right, he was in our heads. We can't focus on that. That's the trap. We have to stop them where they are. It's like, yes, because you could go after MODOK and try and figure out what he knows, how to stop him and everything, but honestly kind of acting out and potentially having him being put into play where his abilities to control minds and fuck around with people's brains might not be as readily available to him, where you could get him into a more physical altercation to stop his ass out. And of course Sharon's like, alright, let's do that, but Manhattan's locked down, it's off limits. And he's like, superheroes to people like Clint who signed their name on the line and agreed to play by rigged rules. But not that's not us, Sharon. This time we have to be where they don't want us to be. This fight doesn't need superheroes, it needs invaders. And I'm like, oh, cool, so this is a kind of new invaders kind of team, which is kind of cool. I like that. And I do kind of like the whole Namer in the cloud thing. So I do like that he's kind of pushing, and we've got a kind of name for the team and everything. And even though it was kind of crazy that they had just gotten together and were going to move forward and do stuff against the Outer Circle, that they got scattered to the four winds and then pretty much had most of their secrets kind of taken out. And it's like, okay, they kind of already have an idea of what we were going to do, so let's pretty much deal with the whole AIM bit and everything and kind of go from there. It's like, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Steve's like, alright, let's do this, let's get in there, save these people, get AIM out of the picture, get any information we probably can out of AIM about how they're connected with the Outer Circle and who probably initiated this move or this play, and then potentially maybe get any of the other star points activated as well to then maybe get more information out of them as well, since they'd probably be put in to kind of stop Steve and the invaders. So it's like, alright, this is pretty cool. Let's see kind of where this goes off. Because at first I was kind of confused. I'm like, alright, we're going to be striking back. And then they immediately got like fucked over. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting to like put them into a different kind of play, get AIM actually doing something, and then seeing how our characters respond to that and what are their reactions and how they're going to deal with that going forward. So I can't wait to see what goes on in the next issues. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.